loses a close, tough fight to Terence Crawford. I don't know.
But he's gotten older. He's grown out of the division.
Who?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but so is Terence Crawford.
You can't make the weight.
But so is Terence Crawford. I picked Terence Crawford because he started 135. Floyd started 130. He turned pro. He's 130 pounds.
I mean, Max really has earned the right to an opinion. And his current opinion is that Terence Crawford is the greatest of all time. Now, I will tell you, Max is a fan. I can relate to this. I got in there and I did the sport, and there are times that there is a credibility that will come along with me for having done the sport. But I'm the same as Max. I'm a fan.
Good Crawford is, you know what I mean? Especially being, 38? Something like that, yeah, 38. So listen, to do what he done in the manner he did it, moving up 2 weights, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest to do it.
Max Kellerman breaks down the highly anticipated Mayweather versus Crawford clash, highlighting the contrast in their careers. He notes that Floyd Mayweather carefully selected opponents to protect his record, which gave him a deep resume but often drew criticism. On the other hand, Terence Crawford never avoided challenges, facing whoever stepped up and consistently proving himself. Despite Mayweather's legacy, Kellerman leans toward Crawford, believing his fearless approach and willingness to fight anyone give him the edge.
Wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Oh, yes. That makes a difference to people.
Max Kellerman has been consistent in questioning whether Floyd Mayweather truly deserves to be ranked #1 on the pound-for-pound list. While acknowledging Floyd's technical brilliance, Kellerman argues that achievements alone do not make him the best of all time. In his analysis, he draws attention to Terence Crawford, who has captured titles across 4 different divisions, a feat that places him in the same conversation as Manny Pacquiao's legacy was defined by moving up weight classes while conquering champions along the way, and Kellerman believes Crawford mirrors this path. To him, it shows that greatness is not about maintaining an undefeated record, but about daring to take risks across divisions and facing the toughest opposition available.
No one has ever been a 4-division champion in boxing. Not a real one. Oh, Pacquiao won 8 and Oscar De La Hoya won 11 and this one won 15. No, I'm talking about Ring Magazine champ or lineal champ. You are the champion of that division. Manny Pacquiao was the first dude to really win 4. Floyd gets credit for 4 for beating Canelo, but that wasn't at the junior middleweight limit. I don't count that. I don't count that. Terence Crawford just joined Manny Pacquiao as the only legit 4-division champion in the history of boxing.
In another sharp critique, Kellerman emphasized that Mayweather carefully managed his career to maintain his undefeated record. He pointed out that Floyd often chose opponents who were either past their prime or strategically less threatening. Early in his career, Mayweather was celebrated for his sharp defensive style and skill, but later, he prioritized fights that offered more financial gain than competitive challenge. This shift led to criticism that his perfect record was more of a business plan than proof of absolute dominance. Kellerman's point is that while Floyd was great, his matchmaking strategy diluted the value of his zero because fans wanted to see him in genuine danger, not in calculated mismatches.
Everyone, right up until the point where he started to make money. But as much credit as you get for making, the primacy of business, for making business your priority, well, that comes with trade-offs. Because when you make business decisions constantly, sometimes your athletic achievements won't be regarded in the same way as if you made athletic achievements your priority. That said, Mayweather has accomplished a tremendous amount athletically. But the 3 fighters he didn't fight, Antonio Margarito, Manny Pacquiao, when he was obliterating De La Hoya, Hatton, and Cotto, and Shane Mosley when he still had something left. And while he will wind up fighting Pacquiao and Mosley, it'll both be, at the right time for Floyd. That said, what about at the right time for Floyd? He's also ancient. A fighter approaching 40, fighting at the level Mayweather is fighting, is unheard of. Mayweather, until recent times, would be considered one of the greatest older fighters. That would be the whole story. Oh my God, can you believe how old Mayweather is? It's a little bit unfair to Floyd to say, well, you're picking these guys at the right time. Floyd is
Kellerman's praise for Terence Crawford as possibly the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time sparked backlash from some fans and analysts who remain remained loyal to Mayweather's legacy. Critics argued that Kellerman was too quick to elevate Crawford and that his career still has more to prove. Yet former UFC star Chael Sonnen defended Kellerman's right to voice his perspective. Sonnen emphasized that analysts and fans alike are entitled to make bold claims when they genuinely see greatness. He explained that Kellerman's stance should not be dismissed as biased, but respected as an informed opinion from someone who has watched boxing evolve over decades. In this way, Sonnen highlighted the healthy debate within combat sports, where differing perspectives fuel discussions on who truly belongs in the conversation for greatest of all time.
Max really has earned the right to an opinion. And his current opinion is that Terence Crawford is the greatest of all time. Now, I will tell you, Max is a fan. I can relate to this. I got in there and I did the sport, and there are times that there is a credibility that will come along with me for having done the sport. But I'm the same as Max. I'm a fan. I stopped off and had a career doing it, but I started as a fan during my time in that career, and now I'm a fan. And Max was a little heavy on Canelo. Now, when I say it was a little heavy, it just surprised me as such an expert, as a guy that knows everything. I mean, Max knows the amateurs. He knows what Usyk did in the Olympic Games and the World Championships and the Golden Gloves before that, and he knows everybody else as well. I was a little surprised, if I'm being fair, at how much he thought Canelo was a great fighter. That part did surprise me. But just because Canelo has been beat doesn't mean he's not. It's interesting. Canelo's had some really hard fights, and by the way, he's had a lot of them. There's not usually a time in boxing where a guy can have anything but a 0 in his loss column, and the guy can still get over. Not only was that not the case, Canelo was valued just dollar and cents at 10 times more valuable than Crawford. Oh, by the way, Crawford is the only one that showed up with an undefeated record. And I must admit, some of those losses that Canelo had seem like the kind of thing that would really slow a guy down.
The reports of Terence Crawford beginning the journey to undisputed status at middleweight were met with both excitement and skepticism. Having already dethroned Canelo Alvarez, who was regarded as the face of modern boxing, Crawford has little left to prove in terms of legacy. By beating Canelo, he shattered the narrative that only size and strength could stop him. Analysts suggest there is nothing more Crawford needs to do because he has already taken down the most marketable and powerful figure in the sport. Yet, the pursuit of undisputed status at 160 pounds shows his hunger to challenge himself further. If he succeeds, he would enter rare territory, cementing his reputation as a fighter who constantly raises the bar rather than settling once he has achieved greatness.
Anti-climaxing for him to drop back down because you already reached the height. You already slayed the giant. And essentially that's what Terence Crawford has already done. He slayed the giant, okay? Anything else he can do is going to be anti-climaxing. Nobody else he can fight. Canelo Alvarez is 63 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Canelo Alvarez is the face, or was the face, of the sport of boxing, right? And you defeated him and outclassed him. Everybody expected you to get knocked out. It was a money grab. It wasn't realistic, and you achieved it, right? There's nothing else you can do but one thing. And as I stated, you can put your crown so high on the pedestal, it's almost impossible to reach. And I stated that becoming undisputed in another glamour division in 2 fights, because it really doesn't matter who Terence Crawford fights at this point in time. There is no name that's going to garner him the traction and attention that he got from fighting Canelo. If he fights Ron Ennis, it's not going to do it. Virgil Ortiz, not going to do it. None of those guys, anybody would put against Canelo Alvarez and say that they would beat Canelo Alvarez. So now he would be expected to beat everybody. Okay? Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, because of the size difference, he's 6'6", 80 plus inch arm reach, right? At fighting at 154 pounds, that would be attractive.
When the discussion turns to the greatest of all time, Kellerman firmly rejects the idea that Mayweather automatically holds that position. He argues that Floyd never took the kind of risks that define legends, While his technical perfection is undeniable, Kellerman believes that greatness requires more than defensive mastery and financial success. Legends like Muhammad Ali and Roberto Duran risked their legacies by fighting the best, regardless of timing or advantage. In Kellerman's eyes, Mayweather did not embody that same fearless spirit. This is why he pushes back against the narrative of Floyd as the greatest, and instead looks to fighters like Crawford, who continuously prove themselves against dangerous opponents without hiding behind business strategy.
Rocky Marciano was 49-0. Before Floyd got to 50-0, he was a heavyweight champ. Did anyone ever consider Rocky Marciano the GOAT? No, not seriously, no. Why would Floyd be considered the GOAT? Because he beat more fighters than Rocky did, more great ones? That's true. But really, Floyd was careful in the way he selected opponents. Don't get that twist. It's not that Floyd didn't fight a lot of great fighters. He did. It's not that I don't think he would have beaten a lot of the tougher fighters than he fought. I think he probably would have, but he didn't do it. He waited. He waited till Pacquiao wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was tearing everyone up. He waited for the right time to fight people. He got paid twice as much for fighting Pacquiao in a less dangerous fight than he would have had he fought him when everyone wanted to see him fight. Floyd is among the all-time greats, but
British boxer Hamza Shiraz expressed admiration for the way Crawford has built his legacy. He emphasized that Crawford's path was unlike anyone else's because it combined dominance with a willingness to face every major contender without hesitation. Shiraz called it an honor to witness the rise of a fighter who not only beats champions, but does so with such precision and composure that he makes it look easy. To him, Crawford's story is not just about victories, but about the message it sends. Greatness comes from chasing the toughest challenges rather than avoiding them. In this sense, Shiraz joins the growing list of fighters and fans who believe Crawford's career represents the purest form of boxing, excellence.
I was saying it, oh mate, I had it totally wrong. But it just goes to show how good Crawford is, you know what I mean? Especially being, 38? Something like that, yeah, 38. So listen, to do what he done in the manner he did it, moving up 2 weights, yeah, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest to do it, one of the greatest to set foot in it. You know what, it was an honour to watch himself and Canelo live ringside. So yeah, the outcome of it wasn't ideal because if Canelo won, I would have been in line next, which is still the case, but just delayed a little bit. And I suppose it all depends what Crawford wants to do.
I saw a post from Umar actually, who put out before the fight, said, I really want my boy Hamza to win, but I think that Crawford will win. And I think a lot of people kind of possibly have seen that sentiment of they want him to win for you, but at the same time, a few people I spoke to picked Crawford to win.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it was a split of opinions, wasn't it? It was very, very divided. But then straight away when the first bell went, and I see Crawford run to the centre, grab centre, you know he weren't here to fuck around, man. And he just bossed it. He just bossed it. I think I'll give Canelo no more than 4 rounds. But then at the same time, you've got to put yourself in Canelo's shoes. He's achieved everything he's needed to do in the sport. He's earned more than enough money, and he's still daring to be great. So as a fighter, as a fan, we can only appreciate that.
Amid these debates, one analyst emphasized how the global balance of boxing is being reshaped through Saudi Arabia's growing influence. At the center of this change is Turki Al-Sheikh, who has orchestrated some of the most high-profile fight cards in recent memory. Unlike the traditional model in which the United States was the dominant hub for mega-bouts, Saudi Arabia has positioned itself as the new home for blockbuster events. Many of these matchups are labeled unusual or entertainment-driven, designed more to capture headlines than to test the best against the best. Critics argue that Al-Sheikh's vision is not just about building Saudi Arabia's sporting reputation, but also about undermining the American market that long controlled the sport. By consistently pulling legendary fighters and star attractions to Saudi soil, he is shifting boxing's center of gravity almost unnoticed. Fans enjoy the spectacle, yet some worry the competitive integrity of boxing is being sacrificed for financial gain. While the events are grand and visually spectacular, the underlying concern is whether the sport's future will be determined by the richest bidder rather than the spirit of competition. This raises a deeper question. Is boxing evolving or losing its true identity?
I have been telling you that he was not coming to America with that. For that, he is coming to take boxing to Saudi Arabia. He is not trying to help boxing in America. He is trying to help boxing in Saudi Arabia. And in order to help boxing in Saudi Arabia, he has to do damage to American boxing, because American boxing is the mecca of boxing right now, and he wants to change where the mecca is. So when he backed Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, I did a video and I said, we know what this is going to be. This is going to be them trying to get this fight over for Canelo Alvarez. And then after that, Turki Al-Sheikh wants to take Canelo Alvarez to Saudi Arabia so he can fight Hamad Shiraz. And Hamad Shiraz can be the one to beat Canelo Alvarez and become the undisputed champion. And that was the end game that Turki Al-Sheikh had. So let's now talk about the fight that was necessary for Canelo to win in order for Turki's plans to come off. Terence Crawford had to lose to Canelo Alvarez. In the fight itself, as I have witnessed and many people have witnessed, that was not a close fight. That was a fight in which Terence Crawford won and won convincingly. The fight was probably close up until around round 4 or 5, at which point in time, Terence Crawford pulled out and pulled away and dominated that fight. Many experts, including myself, say that Terence Crawford won all but maybe 2 rounds. And there are some people that said that they didn't think Canelo won any rounds convincing.
Crawford's defining moment came when he defeated Canelo Alvarez, a result that sent shockwaves throughout boxing. This victory not only added to his resume, but also secured him a massive financial payday, reportedly in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Analysts noted that the win elevated Crawford into a rare category where skill and financial reward met perfectly. The debate immediately shifted to what comes next for him, since he has already dismantled one of the sport's biggest names. For many, this victory confirmed what Kellerman and others have been saying all along, that Crawford's legacy does not need cautious preservation. Instead, it is built on conquering the most formidable challenges available. The financial reward is secondary to the respect he has earned by proving he belongs among the all-time greats.
Now 42-0 with 31 KOs, defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez 63-3-2. Moving up 2 weight divisions was a brilliant performance. We're going to analyze the actual performance and how good he was technically, tactically, physically later on in the show, and we talk about the pound for pound list, Spencer and I. But what I want to ask you is, given that the judges scored it 115, 113, 115, Tim Cheatham 115, 113, Max DeLuca 115, 113, Steve Weisfeld 116, 112. Yeah, 116, 112 is 8 rounds to 4. I had it 9 rounds to 3. I could even have scored it 10 rounds to 2. How did you have it?
Yeah, I had it 117, 111. I thought the scorecards...
9 to 3 then, yeah?
Yeah, I thought the scorecards were way too close. But that was always going to happen with Canelo Alvarez to beat him in Vegas. We've seen a few fights go close before. Triple G was one that comes to mind straight away, where I thought Triple G had won the first fight for sure, and it didn't go his way.
Imagine this, Spence. If Terence had tripped over Canelo's feet late in the fight, let's say he tripped over, and they'd scored that a knockdown, it would have been a majority draw.
Yeah.
And we'd have been screaming blue murder, wouldn't we? We'd have got a rematch.
Yeah.
We might still get a rematch.
I was going to say that, by the way. That's the only place now for Canelo Alvarez to go to. We know he's still got a couple of fights left with Riyadh season in his contract.
I think he'll become like a Ronaldo, a Cristiano Ronaldo for Turki Al-Sheikh. That's what he seems to be setting up as. Get him 2 or 3 more fights, keep him busy, make him a brand ambassador for Riyadh season, get the Mexican audience to know, because obviously there's a big PR going on for Saudi Arabia. They want to conquer America, Latin America. They want to be known out there.
That's it for today's video.